Hi, Peter speaking from Anazao. What's dissociation? Good question. Only known about it for the last 50 years really, how it works. Basically, dissociation is when trauma overwhelms you, either as a child or an adult, and you can no longer consciously remain present to endure that trauma. Another part of your mind is formed and it takes over for you. Once that trauma has finished, that part recedes, you come back to your conscious self with no memory whatsoever of what has happened during that particular event. Now that part that's receded in your mind can now function for you, and it will make conclusions because it's a part of your mind and cause you to be anxious, fearful, distressed, depressed, however it chooses to impact you. And that's really quite significant. In other words, most ailments have a degree of dissociative impact, even in physical ailments, because of course parts can affect your biochemistry. Now it's a God-given mechanism. If we didn't have it, well then we would probably be sitting in the corner as a 2 or 3 year old, incontinent, unable to cope, particularly if someone had physically or sexually abused us as a little child and we were able to remain present all the way throughout. And hence a lot of problems, a lot of dysfunctions in life have their root in trauma that's happened to us where we have absolutely no recall whatsoever. So, when do we dissociate? We can dissociate in the womb, we can dissociate at birth, we can dissociate soon after birth, any separation from our parents at any stage. Could be that you were camping and got lost and you can't remember that. Could be that you had a near drowning incident in your family, they talk about it, you can't remember that. Could be that you were in a mall and you got separated. It could be that you were moving house and you were it was a traumatic time for you. Everybody tells you about that, but you have no recollection of that at all. The kind of thing that would affect an adult that would make them dissociate would be if you were, let's say, in 9/11 and you were at the 33rd floor and when the plane hit and you can't remember anything from the 33rd floor until you were in the foyer. And you remember stumbling out of the foyer and then, of course, you were rescued and then the building collapsed. Well, parts took over. It was just too much for you to handle, and if you were to come to see us, we would be able to access that memory. And with Jesus, we can cut through and get to dissociative parts and bring resolution in a manner that no other secular organisation can anywhere near touch. And that really is one of the things that we do particularly well, given the fact that we've had a lot of experience with dissociative parts, how to contact them, how to access the memory, and then how to bring Jesus into that memory. Not so much bringing Jesus, but finding where Jesus was, and then his resolution is just absolutely astounding. When you see him do what he does, it's incredible. So yes, you have dissociated. Everybody dissociates. It's just the nature of life, and obviously when you were younger you dissociated more because it was easier to overwhelm your spirit and soul. Now that you're a lot older, of course, it's harder to dissociate. So if you've got ailments that don't seem to heal, if you've had postnatal depression, not just the baby blues, if you can't remember years of your childhood, and you just really struggle looking at family photos, feeling disconnected, all of those are symptoms of possible or probable dissociation. And it's God's desire that every single person be dissociatively part-free, totally removed. And that can happen, and it can happen relatively quickly. Our model is a simple model. It works, not confusing, not complicated. And I suggest you read our book, Dissociation, The Forgotten Factor in Healing, or alternatively, attend one of our seminars, day seminar on dissociation, and better still, come to one of our schools, and the second week of our 4-week school is a whole week on dissociation. You'll learn so much about how it works, the brain mechanism behind it, and you'll see me demonstrate, and you'll get to know about this amazing understanding we now have, and an ability for Jesus to bring complete healing, whereas previously we just didn't know about this. Okay.